Peter, it's a pleasure to meet you, and congratulations on your Oscar, which we have here with us. You've got legions of film credits behind you. What's been the most challenging?
It's always tremendously difficult to pick out an individual one. Each picture has their challenges, whether it be a difficult personality that you have to work with, or in fact a difficult makeup you have to do. Braveheart, of course, is difficult because it's set so many centuries ago. There isn't any makeup to use. So the girls, the princesses and the queens and the various handmaidens, it's difficult to make them look beautiful because you don't have foundations and lipsticks and lashes to play with. So that's difficult. Just as difficult, say, as Greystoke and the apes and Henry V and the period looks.
People always think of Hollywood as the land of glamour, but you've suggested some of those beautiful people might not be so intrinsically beautiful.
The leading ladies tend to be good actresses, and good actresses don't always tend to be stunning beauties. Judi Dench, that's just won an Oscar, for instance, is without doubt probably the greatest living female artist. She's by no means the prettiest, but she is without doubt the loveliest. And we have the job of making these people the best they can be. They don't necessarily walk in looking stunning, but after being with us at 5:30 in the morning, the director expects them to look to the best they can do when they come on the set, say at 8. So they're not all beauties, no.
And you're now producing a new generation of Framptonette.
Yes, film and television and theatre and opera. One of them runs does the work for all of the opera in Brisbane, for instance, and pop promos and photographic work. Makeup spans all of those things. I'd like to think of them going into the film industry because that's what I did all my life. But this institute covers all the forms of makeup that you can learn. And the beautiful part of the place is that because I have a name and because the Oscar and the British Academy Award helps, people phone me all the time to do films. It's quite natural. I was asked to do Star Wars. I was asked to do Damien, for instance, which is a lovely film that was shot in Hawaii. I couldn't do it because I teach, but as I explained to the director, you have young, hungry boys and girls here that can do what I can do, and they're desperate for work, and they'll do it for a quarter of the price.
And in this high-tech age, it's one of those jobs that hasn't been diminished.
No, that's right. We get new products, of course, better ways of making a bald cap, better ways of blacking out teeth, better ways of cutting someone's throat. But the technician still has to apply them. The technician still has to do that. In terms of camera, in terms of sound, in terms of editing, everything's changing and being computerized. Luckily, in terms of makeup and hair, you still have to have the human touch. And that's what we supply. We supply the boys and girls that go all over the world to do that.
Why'd you choose to settle here in southeast Queensland?
My wife's Australian and comes from Brisbane. When I first started to do the really big pictures, we bought a beach house down this way, Mermaid, and I started to relax in between films here.
And do you think there's a huge potential for filmmaking here?
There is, most definitely. It's without doubt the most fabulous place to make films, with a fabulous film studio to make them in. And I know all my contacts in Hollywood, all the directors and the producers and the writers that I still speak to every week, talk of Queensland and speak of it as a place to come to make films. The trouble is whether or not they're accepted here, or whether or not they actually get to make their pictures here rather than in Sydney or Melbourne, is the problem. We have to be more open. We have to welcome the Americans and the Europeans with their films, not television, but with their feature films more. We're too television orientated here. We have to get more pictures here. We have to. But there's a lot of things being made here, a lot of television going on here, and that always needs crews. Anything's good, and Queensland is the best place to make pictures. It's fabulous.
Once again, congratulations on your Oscar and your other awards, and thanks for everything you've given the viewing public.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming.